The Sega Mega Drive was the first console I had as a child. It came in this ridiculously oversized box with all the bells and whistles. It also came with this game that had a happy-looking blue hedgehog on the front cover. After that feeling of pushing the cartridge in the console, it was time to play. I was instantly hooked. This little blue hedgehog was speeding its way through colourful backdrops, inviting me to collect these shiny gold rings. As I gripped my controller for hours on end, often ignoring my parents' calls that dinner was ready, and glancing over at my 5-year-old sister eagerly awaiting her chance to play the game herself, this would often end in a childish squabble. This was the birth of a new era of video games. Since then, Sega has struggled to recreate the magic of the 90s 16-bit adventures that originally made us fall in love with our nimble blue friend. That is until they gave the reins to hardcore Sonic fans Christian Whitehead and Simon Thornley, who led a small studio in creating a remix of new and old in the best Sonic game in decades. At first, Sonic Mania feels like a direct sequel to Sonic 3 and Knuckles, with the one-button press action and colourful backdrops that made the series such a masterpiece. The memorable cast of characters also make a welcome return. The feeling of elation after each sequence of jumps and narrowly missing those dreaded spikes feels like it did way back when. Unlike Sonic 4 and many other attempts at a modern Sonic game, the rush of taking control of our beloved blue furry friend, Tails and Knuckles is a joy to behold once again. For large parts of the game, you are playing what appears to be a slightly sharper looking version of all those classic stages you enjoyed in the 90s. However, after a short time, you start to notice those subtle changes that make Mania a standalone Sonic game. During the first act, where you tackle a very familiar level, there are new routes to take, fun bosses, and additional animations that give Sonic a bigger personality. The motions in the game are much smoother, whether you're skimming across water, going through loops, or crashing into an obstacle that sends you flying with your rings through the air. The game retains its 60 frames per second. Sonic Mania begins with Dr. Eggman once again stealing some powerful jewels called Chaos Emeralds, and it's up to Sonic and his reliable fox companion Tails and frenemy Knuckles to get them back and defeat Eggman once and for all, or maybe until next time. The gameplay itself is also familiar, with only minor additions included, the biggest one being Sonic's new ability called the Drop Dash, which allows you to drop mid-jump and dash upon hitting the ground. Each boss requires a different strategy, which is nothing new for a Sonic game, but all the basic gameplay formula that we have seen previously in the series is left in the past. Some encounters aren't platformers at all. Some involve lengthy battles on the move that go much further than even Sonic CD did, and all of them have enough surprises to keep them engaging. These sections were routinely the parts I most look forward to. Like any other platformer, Sonic Mania hands you a bunch of lives when you begin the game, then you'll gain more through collecting 100 rings or finding them scattered throughout levels. As long as you have more lives, you'll resume at the last checkpoint you dinged when you die. But if you run out, you'll have to restart the stage from the very beginning. There are also plenty of unlockables throughout each stage, which, for the trophy and achievement hunters out there, is a good enough reason to replay your way through the game. So, here's the verdict. Overall, Sonic Mania is a fantastic nostalgia kick and possibly one of the best games in the franchise's history. Besides the campaign, you'll find additional modes such as time attack co-op and a basic multiplayer for you to try out. It's not a game that is brimming with extras, but then neither was the original. For many years, Sega chased the highs that made their mascot such an iconic gaming phenomenon. With every attempt, it would seem to get further and further away from what made Sonic great. That was until now. This is an excellent 2D platformer that goes beyond our expectations, and rather than just making it a shiny iteration of yesteryear, it's an evolution of the series' iconic formula that has made possibly the greatest Sonic of all time.